Hello, Dental Team listeners. This is Kiera, and today I am so giddy to be recording this podcast. If you missed it, you missed out. We did our CEO Dentist webinar workshop, and it was so rad. We did it in August, and just kudos to all the doctors that were there. If you missed it, you're in luck. I'm going to give you the highlight reel. But I really hope that you plan to join us. It was a 3-day, full play, full out workshop that I just thoroughly loved. We had doctors joining us every single night and really just having that mindset shift of how do I go from being this day in, day out operator to a CEO owner of my business? Like, what are the things that I really should be doing as a CEO versus what should I be doing as a founder? Like, how do we shift that mindset? And we did it based on our proven model, the YES model. You guys have heard me chat about that, the focusing on you and your vision, earnings and profitability, and then systems and team development. So it was just really, really fun. This really was something to help. Honestly, like afterwards, I had so many calls with so many people that were there. And it was just joyful because they said, Kiera, I really want to learn how to be the CEO. Like, as you talked about it, I finally understood like what my role should look like and how I should be evolving. And so it just was really fun. So I just want to say like, thanks to our entire team. Thanks to everybody who joined. And for all of you, if you didn't get to be there, you missed out. It was like full blown. And I did a little surprise. I wasn't expecting it, but I actually ended up like doing an after party, and it was really fun to just have real conversations. So really, truly just a highlight. And today I'm going to kind of like break this down into what we did. I'll give a couple of highlights from each day of just for you to kind of get the highlight reel of it. And then, hey, if you ever want to chat about how to become the CEO dentist of your practice, this is what we're doing for a lot of offices. I've kind of been shifting our model to help dentists and teams really elevate to have practices that run with team leadership, to have dentists to truly run in their realm of being that healthcare provider that you love and or exiting and going out of the chair. No, there's no set path. It's your path. And really helping dentists just elevate to that level of like, how do I own this business and not have it own me? So just super jazzed. That's what we're working on. Just really, really, really fun and exciting things and getting your team bought into this as well. So with that, I'm just excited. Welcome. If you're new to the podcast, I'm Kiera. It's super nice to meet you. I love all things dentistry, including my last name is Dent. I came from self-made, being able to help practices grow to the level, the growth, the fulfillment, the joy that they want, helping doctors and teams align. And this is coming from real life, all of my experiences, all of our collective experience of our consulting team, bringing you tactical, practical tips to make your life and your business work for you and not against you. So with that, it was just a jazz. Like, it was so fun. So the first day we really talked about just some topics of like, who can relate. So if you can relate to this, great, this podcast is for you. Number one is running a dental practice is the most stressful part of your life. Hiring and retaining the right people seems almost impossible. Some months feel great. Others feel like you're drowning. Your patients are canceling last minute, leaving your team and you helpless. You know how to be a dentist, but you have no clue how to run a business. You're alone with your problems. You question if dentistry was the right choice for you. You feel like everyone has it together, but you don't. And I hope if you answered yes to any of those questions, you realize that truly, 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 you're not alone. And every single dentist feels this at some point. And some survive and others thrive. And so the whole goal of the CEO Dentist Workshop was to help you thrive. And so on the first day, we really went through like, what exactly is a CEO? I remember there was this aha moment in my career where I'm like, what does a CEO actually do? I'm not joking. I Googled this and I was like, what is a CEO? Like, what do they do? And it was a good, I would say a good, probably identity shift for me to realize like a CEO is your chief executive officer. So like, this is the person who executes. So you oversee the execution of day to day, but you don't do it all. So your job is to lead the vision, plan for the future, create and protect the culture, and do big opportunities, but stay out of the weeds. Like, that's genuinely what you're supposed to do. And a lot of dentists, like, will add one more asterisk. A lot of times you do the dentistry. Sometimes you do it full time, and other times you hire associate dentists to do it with you. So like, that's what it means. It means you oversee. You think about a CEO of Amazon. They are not packing the boxes and shipping it out. They are not calling on all the customer service things. They are not creating the bots and the software. Their job is to look over the vision. Their job is to keep people accountable. Their job is to plan for the future, look for the big opportunities, really, truly protect the culture and stay out of the weeds. So I think when I looked at that, I'm like, how many dentists actually live like this? Probably not a lot. So what we did is we went through an audit, and then we worked on the key foundation. And this might feel a little fluffy, and I'm sure some participants might have thought this, but if we don't get the you portion of the yes model correct, we can't say yes to things. The number one, and I purposely built the yes model in the pillars in the exact formula of you first, earnings second, systems third. And if you will follow this model, you really truly can get there. And so what we talked about is how you show up as a leader directly impacts the success, the relationships, your financial and personal freedom, and the overall happiness and fulfillment you have in your practice. So when I look at this, okay, great, you have to take care of you. And we talked about actually how to shift your identity. And so a lot of times people identify themselves today, but if you knew, Tony Robbins said, the strongest force in the human personality is the need to stay consistent with how we define ourselves, not who we actually are, but how we define ourselves. So what we actually had everybody do in the workshop on day one was to create this new identity of being the CEO dentist. What would the CEO dentist do or not do? You're still checking charts at night. Would a CEO handle end of day tasks like that? Yes or no? No one's held accountable. Would a CEO allow chaos to become culture? Your team's just clocking in. How would a CEO reignite motivation? You're bleeding cancellations. How would a CEO oversee the systems to prevent that? Your schedule's full, but your profits don't show it. How would a CEO fix that? Cash flow is unpredictable. How would a CEO create stability? You're doing busy work and have no time to look at the big picture. How would a CEO solve it? So just again, it's when we shift our identity, not from who you are, but to a CEO. So I'm not Kiera. I'm not dentist Kiera. I am now, you guys, I was never dentist Kiera. I was dental assistant Kiera. I'm consultant Kiera. But for you, you're dentist John. You go in, you do the fillings, you are this practice owner. But what would CEO John or CEO Kiera or CEO Sarah or CEO Marsha or CEO Tom or CEO Tony or CEO Kevin, what would they do or not do? And when you can shift this identity, you can actually start to see, and you can look at the delegation ladder. And we talked about the delegation ladder of what tasks, because when you're a small business versus when you expand and become a larger business, you actually have different, it's literally in a tier of what you're going to delegate and when. Because as a founder, as a new startup, as a CEO, you're doing a lot of the work. You don't have the cash flow. You can't afford it. You're going to do all the work. So at that point, that CEO is doing that. But as the practice builds and evolves, a lot of CEOs stay there and they don't actually evolve into delegating the tasks that they should be. And so when we go through the entire delegation ladder from administrative tasks to patient experience, treatment coordinator, and selling cases to marketing to leadership, these are all the zones of where is your name at on that delegation ladder and where should it be based on the current size of your practice. And then even if you're small, what's your next hire? Well, first hire is administrative tasks. So it's either a front office team member, it's a personal assistant, or it's an office manager. That's going to immediately delegate all of those front office tasks for you, that they're going to do all of that. And then you move into, you're doing the patient experience, you're doing the closing of the cases, you're doing the marketing, you're doing the leadership. But you offload that first, and then you offload the next and the next and the next. And so really looking at this of it was really cute. We had this fairy godmother, and it's you are now the CEO. It's time to be the CEO. And I think for us on day one of people just being highlighted of, you now have this new identity. And so looking at it of, when I look at this, what's standing in my way of being the CEO? What does my dream business look like? What does that vision timeline look like for me? And what must change now to become the CEO? So as you go through that was a quick recap of day one. And then we rolled right into day two, which day two is a lot more tactical. Day one's a bit more of you becoming and taking on this new identity. And I will tell you, when I got on calls afterwards, because it was actually real fun. We had a lot of calls. Really excited to welcome the new offices to our company and to our group. And they're already shifting and changing. I had some people text me after that of saying, I'm now committing to being the CEO dentist. And when you take and embody a new identity, because I thought through this and we were brainstorming as we were prepping this webinar or this workshop. And I thought, how am I going to get people to recognize that the you portion is the most pivotal pillar of this whole success model? And how do I get them to do it quickly? And I realized change identity is the fastest way to change. But changing identity can feel hard. But if I tell you, it's like putting on a t-shirt and I say, all right, today you're wearing the CEO t-shirt. How are you going to act? Just like I can be Kiera, the executor. I can be Kiera, the consultant. I can be Kiera, the sales. I can be Kiera, the customer service. Those are just t-shirts and hats. But if I'm going to put on my main t-shirt, my main hat, I change my identity and I walk into that office every day and I'm now the CEO dentist. You will start to act quicker and faster. It's just like the person who wants to get healthy, read Atomic Habits. They say what they do is they don't ask them to like become healthy. They say, what would a healthy person do? Well, they would walk to their car instead of drive and get the closest parking spot. They would eat snacks like celery sticks for snacks rather than other things. They would have their tennis shoes by the side of their bed. They would go walking every day. Like you don't, and that's how you become. So like, what would a CEO dentist do? What would a CEO dentist not do? That's how you can start to shift this identity and become that. So that was just a quick, like I said, quick recap of day one. And then day two is just fun. It's about numbers. Numbers are one of my favorite things because you've got to really understand numbers because numbers are your superpower. Not knowing your numbers, believe it or not, causes more stress than knowing them. Even if they're bad, even if they're good, not knowing, because you're in this constant fear of like, well, are they good? Do we have money? I don't know. It's also helping you make confident decisions, develops the steps of where you need to go. And it also helps you track progress to take action before it's too late. So really numbers to me are the proactive approach in a business rather than the reactive. And it's okay. It does not matter where we start. It always helps us then become more proactive as we're going through. So we went through KPI, so a key performance indicator. Which one should you be looking at? What are some common ones? We went through stats and KPI spreadsheets, how we look at these, like what we need to do on the daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly. So like daily, we're looking at month to date production and collections. We want to have that 98%. We also want to look at our end of day sheet, making sure we've got all of those procedures built out. Weekly, we're looking at our KPIs to review during doctor and OM weekly meetings. So looking at trends, creating action items before things get too late. Like literally our entire team and our clients, they track stats every single week because we're looking for trends. The offices that do this are always my profitable offices. The offices that don't are the not profitable. Like it is science. Though, like what you track and measure improves. So track. Monthly, you do your month-end number review, like all the KPIs. What were the trends and what are we going to do better next month? Where are we at? I just talked to an office the other day. We realized we're 100,000 behind where we want to be for end of year. We have 4 months left or 2 months left or 1 month or wherever you are. But if you plan and you look ahead, 4 months trying to make up 100 grand is way easier to do than 2 months trying to make up 100 grand. So when we look at that, then you just change the game. You change how we schedule. We change how we're going to do our block schedules. All of it is really easy. But if you don't look at this and you don't measure it, you're in stress. This is stress. We look at our overhead, we look at our P&L, and then quarterly, we look at our year to date. Where are we at? What are the gaps? We're going to set reach goals or quarterly goals, and then we track weekly and make sure we're on track for that. So we went through a monthly cost spreadsheet too. This is honestly my most favorite spreadsheet of all time. So legit, I love it. And it's here. And it's something that I have of what is our monthly BAM, our bare ace minimum. What does it cost us to run the practice on a high end, low end, and where we currently are. So if I've got to scale and add more people, if I need to reduce in times of chaos or hard times, I at least know those numbers. And that will give you so much confidence because now you've got a piece of the puzzle to then know what do we need to produce? What do we need to collect? We went through an overhead calculator and what are the benchmarks? What should my payroll be? What should my supplies be? Labs, advertising, all of that. What's my overhead? What's my doctor's salary? And where can I cut? Because the way to fix your numbers are 3 things. 1, decrease what we're spending. That's 1. 2, increase production. And 3, increase collections. If our collections, because you can be producing and if you're not collecting, guess what? Your overhead's sky high. Like that's a stressful zone. Just go collect the money. You've already done it. Collect the money. If we're not producing enough to cover our bills, well, we need to increase our production and build block schedules and different pieces like that to make sure what we need to produce for our practice is actually there. And then like looking at our costs, what can we cut? What things could be more efficient in? Do we maybe need to delay a hire or do we need to make the hire? Whatever it is, but knowing those areas, like that's where math becomes very fun. Numbers become fun. It's just a simple math equation. It's not hard. We're not going into algebra and geometry and calculus and all of that trig. No. It's literally simple, basic math where we can say, okay, this is what I'm making, this is what I'm spending, and this is what we're collecting. Which of those levers do I need to turn? And so showing off is how like collections matter and different pieces, like going through an overhead calculator. We had actual spreadsheets for KPIs, for monthly cost spreadsheet, for our overhead calculator. All of that was actually really, really lovely. And then showing offices like we're aiming for you to be 20% profitable after doctors paid, after all expenses are paid. 20% profit is what we aim for with our practices. And so when you look at your profit, and if right now you're like, I don't even know profit, hey, let's chat. Let's talk about it because you got to make the money and keep the money. We got to make sure we're not spending more money than we're making. And then we're prepping and preparing and we're working towards that profit margin. Having cash flow, having profit at the end of the month will lower your stress radically. So we went through all that. We also had like a whole KPI checklist to have. And it was really fun because when we look at these numbers, this is where the stress stops. And we actually went through like a real life example with the people that were participating with us, and they could quickly see, you don't even know this practice. Look at this KPI scorecard. What do you see, and what should this practice take immediate action on? Again, a CEO hat, a CEO shirt. That person's going to look at the trends. They're not going to go dig into the weeds most of the time. They're going to look at this and say, okay, well, if my production's 160 and my collections are 100, right now, even you listening on the podcast, you can tell that's my gap. We're producing 160, but we're collecting 100. Now, that 160 could be because we're putting in our numbers in gross, not net production. That's a problem. Fix that. Maybe our collections are good. But if we're producing that in net and we're only collecting 100,000, that's a huge gap. What do we need to do to fix our collections? Our year-to-date collection percentage is 62%. You know right there. And when this office had an overhead of 85%, well, to me, looking at that without even knowing this practice, they have a collections problem right there. They increase the collections, their overhead goes down, money instantly becomes available. So many offers like, here, we don't have the money. And I look and I'm like, you got 500,000 in AR. You've got the money. We just need to collect the money. You're producing well. Your expenses are in line. Or other times, like, our expenses are high. Let's reduce that. Let's figure out how we can get it. So giving some parameters in that and really knowing, like, when you look at, as a quick review for you, do you actually use your numbers as superpower? So 1, do you have KPIs? 2, do you review them weekly? 3, does every team member have their own number, and do they track them? So meaning like a number that's going to move the business forward, that they know that they can impact, that they own as ownership. Does your team know how they can impact the numbers? Do you know your overhead? Do you know what's in your AR right now? How much money's sitting out? And do you have a plan to get to ideal profit? So answering those questions really will help you kind of have an overview of, all right, got it. These are the things. And I will say, for anybody, if you want, we actually gave away a lot of these worksheets. So to anybody who scheduled the call. So if you're like, hey, I'm just curious, like, how can you help me with like maybe my U portion, maybe my earnings portion, or the last portion of systems and team development? Hey, schedule a call with us. I'm happy to share a lot of these spreadsheets with you and a lot of the pieces, because why not? I know you weren't there and I know you didn't get all of it, but I would love to help you out. And I'd love to give you a lot of these resources. So book a call, hello@thedentally.team.com, or go to our website, thedentally.team.com, click book a call. I think it's really something lovely to be able to help. And honestly, hey, why not? You're going to get all the resources, and we're going to be able to give you a true roadmap for your practice. I actually do. It's about an hour-long complimentary call where we actually go through your practice. We give you a highlight of where to go, what are kind of the big pieces in your practice, and then also give you resources. So really, it's a no risk for you. It's no pressure, just truly clarity and momentum. So and like I said, the KPI scorecard, the monthly spending, the overhead calculator, those types of things I think are just so powerful to be able to access those and to even see what you should or could be doing. So then, as a wrap, day 3 of the workshop was so fun. It was one of my favorite days. Shout out to Eve, our marketer. She said, Kiera, I want you to really try something for me. And I'm all here for innovation, creation. Like, let's try something new. And she said, on systems, I want us to do like a rapid fire. And so what we did, because what I found is, 1, you have the vision, you take on this new hat, new identity of, I'm the CEO dentist. You now know that numbers are your superpower, and you're going to use your numbers to not be used by your numbers. So you're going to look at the numbers and we're going to see where are the gaps, whatever your numbers are. So the numbers need to lead to the vision, and whatever numbers tell us, the numbers tell us a story. Just like that example I gave you, there was a collections problem. Well, great. If there's a collections problem, that's the system that we now go implement into a practice. So it's really, really great to see, like, oh my gosh, I don't have to like eat this whole elephant. It's very simple based on the vision and the numbers to tell you which systems are broken, which systems are lacking, and what things we need to implement, improve, or optimize. So the last part was systems. And Dentally team, I like cadences. I like to see like a map. So I put 12 systems for the 12 months of the year. And some of you have heard these things in the past. You can look these up on our website. We've got lots of them. But basically just like, okay, what's my kind of outlook for every single month? So January is office management, mastery, and leadership. February is doctor optimization. So making sure like endo, CE, Botox, like whatever it is, we're just optimizing our doctor procedures in-house, looking to see what could we do to optimize that more. March is billing with ease. April's 5-star patient experience. May is smooth sailing scheduling. June is maximized case acceptance. July is dynamite dental assistance. August is elevated hygiene. September is confident marketing. October is complete operations manual, so get that thing done. November is practice profitability, what we just discussed. And December, yes, pun intended, A-team hiring and onboarding. So like a little calendar for you to, as you're going through as a CEO, Now you don't have to think of like, oh, I've got to do all the systems. You've got a checklist of, all right, let me go look at this system. Let me go look at this system. Let me look at this category and see what could I optimize? What could we improve? What could we enhance? So what we did is we actually did a speed round and it was a yes or no. You weren't allowed to have anything gray. And we had 3 questions under every system. So they went through 36 different areas of their practice. And it was either yes or a no to then say, how are your systems in those areas? So for example, and people were giving a 0 out of 3, a 1 out of 3, a 2 out of 3, or a 3 out of 3. So let's go to management mastery. This would be your office manager. I review my weekly KPIs to ensure we're on track to hit goals. It's either a yes or a no. There's no in between. My leadership team runs effective meetings and follows up on action items. Yes or no. I know each team member is receiving regular one-on-one coachings for growth monthly. Yes or no. And then I'll give you a trickier one because why not? People were like, I was doing so good. And then I got into some of these other ones. So let me grab, let's do maximize case acceptance. This one would be our practice maintains at least a 75% patient case acceptance and tracks it daily. Yes or no? You might be having that. And if you don't know, then it's a no. We have a solid follow-up system for unscheduled treatment and offer easy financing options. Yes or no? Next visits are scheduled in the back office to help increase case acceptance. Yes or no? So what we did is there's so many things within every single system, but tried to break it down so people could quickly see of the 12 systems, where am I maybe lacking to then maybe take execution and action. And also as CEOs to then know, great, I have a focus for every single month that I can really look at. I can have a checklist. I can look at this, and then we actually take action to improve our practice consistently. So we worked through that. And then we said that the piece is we can talk about you as a leader. We can talk about money and profitability and systemization, but for excellent systems to stick, you have to have extraordinary leadership. And this is where it was like, but wait, what about the CEO dentist? Do I have to do all of this? And the answer is, again, as a CEO, your job is to lead the vision, plan for the future, create and protect the culture, big opportunities, and stay out of the weeds. That's your job. That's what you're supposed to do. And maybe we can add in there clinical dentistry if you want to, but like that is what you do. So for that, Britt and I actually then went into there are 2 dimensions of leadership because we started thinking about this. And in that delegation ladder, there is this zone of leadership. And one side is going to be the executive, and that's the future planning, the vision, the culture. Like that is truly the CEO dentist. But there's a split side to it. And the other side is the management side. So Britt and I actually make the yin and yang of the leadership team. I've got the executive side. Britt's got the management side. And management side is operations and systems, people, and then nitty gritty details. Britt is amazing at this. I'm amazing at vision. And you need both of those pieces to work in harmony together to have it. And it's usually not the same person. And so helping people go through that and to see, where am I strong? And as the CEO of your practice, you might actually flourish in the management side, and that's a-okay. You need to hire somebody who's a visionary next to you. Or you might be freaking awesome at the visionary side. You need a strong manager that does all the pieces that you are actually not naturally good at, nor should you be spending your time on, to pair gently with you and perfectly with you. This way your practice can flourish and you can actually be the owner of your business rather than being owned by your business. So looking at this, it was really like, where do you actually fall as a CEO, dentist, executive leader? Where are you doing? What needs to change in your practice? And as we go through this, for you to even kind of do an assessment of, how am I doing on my vision and owning and being the CEO dentist in that identity and truly sitting in that seat? Then what about my numbers and how's the profitability of my business, the future progress and growth? And then looking at my systems, how are we on those 12 systems? What needs to happen? And then on my executive leadership, am I on the visionary side or on the management side? And who do I need to have? And do I have a strong person? Is that the right person in the right seat there? Or does that need to be evolved? And so it's one of those pieces of like, we have all the pieces, like, we know, but how do we actually make this go from like knowledge to action? And I think that was the piece of really helping people recognize that time is so fluid and so fast. And when I look back, I shared a story of where I truly was sitting in a room of a bunch of really smart business owners. And I'm like, I don't even know what they're talking about. And I think so many times when we hear a podcast like this or we listen, we know we should be doing it, but we don't actually know how, and we feel inferior. And so what we do is we just keep doing the same thing. And rather than that, I would maybe suggest you take a pause and you say, are you really the best person as a CEO to do this? Or is it maybe worth it to hire somebody who knows how to do it and has been there, done that, and done it successfully to help you and your team? I really, really dislike coaching for myself. So that's why I built Dental Team the way I did. I don't like to be coached as the CEO and then have to try and take that back to my team. That's exhausting. There's things that I need to know and there's things that my team needs to know. And that's actually why we built Dental Team the way we did. We coach doctors and teams. We teach doctors how to be the executive. We teach you how to be the CEO, how to get out of the weeds, how to empower your team. And then we teach teams how to follow up so dentists can actually let go. We can build the leadership. We build the tracking. We build the numbers. So you can sit there and confidently run your business rather than being ran by your business. And to think about like, when I took the leap of faith to hire a coach, when I didn't know and was so scared to do it, I look and that was 6 years ago that I hired her. And in those 6 years, things that happened, like Dental Team has definitely grown. Like we have hundreds of clients that we're able to serve on a very personal, intimate level. I was very adamant as we built this company that I would never go to a spot where people just felt like a number and not a person. And so being able to scale it to grow, because my mission is to positively impact the world of dentistry and to do it in the greatest way possible. Like truly, how do I do this, but make people still feel like a person and to be seen? So Dental Team wouldn't be here if I would have not like taken the leap and gotten the help that I needed and truly owned that I'm a CEO. I'm not expected to know everything. And I need to hire people that are smarter than me, better than me, and help me grow and optimize in areas that I don't even know. My confidence wouldn't be here. My passion, the certainty in myself, my growth, my purpose, my freedom of life, like the life that I get to live now versus the life I was living, the ability to say yes to everything I need, want, and deserve. And that's why I built the yes model, because to help other doctors, other team members be able to say yes to everything you need, want, and deserve is life-changing. And that's why we built the yes model. And so for that, it was just a really fun, like, it was such a beautiful thing to walk people through a complete workshop to help them see where am I at. And I hope today you took kind of the notes and you look to see like, where am I at? And just know that being the CEO and owning your business is not a destination, but it's a journey. It's a space, and you'll get more and more into that, but it's a forever evolution. You're never fully systematized. You're never always profitable. You're never always going to sit perfectly in the CEO seat. You're going to ebb and flow. And it's just like a mountain and climbing the mountain. There's peaks and valleys and there's highs and there's lows. And that's the game of business that we signed up for. But not doing it alone, not trying to figure it all out on your own, not trying to solve all the problems, I think is one of the most beautiful things. So if that resonates with you, we really talked about like joining consulting is only for offices that want to thrive and not just survive. It's you want strong systems in your practice that work with or without you there. You want to improve your leadership skills and actually learn how to be the CEO dentist. You want to be the CEO dentist that you were meant to be. You want to have a team that enjoys their work and owns their work. You want to be with peers like other dentists, other office managers, other leadership teams that make you better. Not out of like comparison and competition, but out of true, genuine lifting each other up, bringing part of a bigger community that's more, that gives you hope, gives you help, gives you benchmarks to look forward to, gives you ideas of how to do it differently and better. And you know that there must be a better, easier way because you know that there truly is. And so if that's something that you're interested in, like, I'd love for you to reach out. Like, I know you weren't able to attend the workshop. I hope you attend next year because it was like so much more than I could even give on this podcast. But if that resonates with you, schedule the practice growth call. Like truly, we're going to go through it. It's complimentary. We're going to dig through all the pieces of your practice, look at a lot of things we just discussed. And the added bonus is you will get all of the resources. So KPI scorecard, KPI checklist, fixed cost spreadsheet, our monthly cost spreadsheet, the overhead calculator, the cash flow guide, some really, really incredible things that I think are just so valuable and powerful for you. But more than that, you're going to get clarity and momentum. And I think right now that's one of the greatest gifts you could give yourself. So book the call, take action. You don't have to do it all yourself. And I think that that's like, get out of the weeds, because we need your vision. We need you to be the leader of the business. We need you to actually be looking at the numbers, having a team, driving that forward, because no one else is doing that. You're the leader at the helm, and it's either you or it's got to be someone else. But generally speaking, it's you, the dentist, the owner. And so let's help you out. Let's give you that freedom. Let's give you that confidence. Let's give you that roadmap. And do it in a way that's for you and your practice. So reach out, head to the website, thedentalteam.com, book a call, email us hello@thedentalteam.com. And truly, let's help you out. Let's do a complimentary call and just see where are you at? How can we help you? And like I said, as an add bonus, let them know you listen to the CEO Dentist Workshop podcast, and we will happily give you those downloads. They are tactical, they're practical, they're able to be put into place right away, because you all know I love tactical, practical, and you know that my biggest passion is you. It's you being successful. It's you having the life that you want. It's being able to have life on your terms, to be able to say yes to everything that you want, need, and deserve. That's why you did this. That's why you went into dentistry. And so let's give you the life that you had always envisioned. And let's take that from a dream and a wish to a reality. And with that, thanks so much for listening. I'll catch you next time on the Dental Team Podcast.